when you do the math, 8 times 12 is 96, which means $9,600 a year in rent, which means about $10,000, which in 5 years is $50,000. A professional frugalist says, what could I do with $50,000 instead of giving it away for rent? Living your best life abroad with Frank and Angie in South America, Europe, or even North America. Professional frugalists and life hackers. So the vested interests are breaking out the champagne, the regular frugalists are getting worried, and the professional frugalists are, how do I say it, laughing all the way to the bank or laughing all the way to the apartment, whatever, I don't know. You know. Part of the initial stages of the bubble is you will see people on the Gringo portals touting and bragging about living in a place on thousands of dollars per month, you know, like $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month in a place where the locals earn $400, $500, $600 a month. And then you also start seeing people that get beat up on social media. They get ridiculed because they complain. And I've said this to you guys before, listen, the Rams groups and the Ram crowds, this is where they're at in life. They just don't know any better, and you know, they're gonna do what they're gonna do at their pricing levels. And so if you come around complaining about the Rams to them, they can't help you. They don't know any better. They're gonna just, you know, they're not gonna be very helpful towards you. The fact that you can't live in Cuenca, Ecuador on $1,600 is because of everything that's happening with the bubble issue. And so complaining to people that are actually participating and you know, facilitating the bubble isn't the place to be. You know, if you want to know how to stay out of these bubble prices, you have to go somewhere else. So yeah, you start seeing these people all over these Gringo portals where, you know, they don't have any answers to people that say, well, the Rams say I can live on $1,600, but I came down here. It's not true. This was happening also back 5 years ago when that bubble was in its infancy and it started progressing. You had people that actually left Cuenca because they couldn't afford it based on their retirement. I'm not talking about you know, $600 retirements either. So $1,600 is a fair amount of money to have to spend in a place where locals are making $400, $500, $600 a month, and where the middle class is making, you know, $1,200 to $1,500 a month. There's something wrong if you can't live on $1,600 a month. Read, study, learn. The Rams is a good place to start if you know absolutely nothing, but you know, it's necessary to progress out of that level, because even, let's talk about somebody that has a mid to upper 5-figure income. Let's talk to such a person and say this, okay, well, $800 a month, that's fine. You know, I'm comfortable with that, with my income. But what does a professional frugalist do with mid 5 figures to upper high 5 figures? A lot more than live in Cuenca, Ecuador on, you know, thousands of dollars, or pay $800 for rent. Because when you do the math really quick, 8 times 12 is 96, which means $9,600 a year in rent, which means about $10,000, which in 5 years is $50,000. A professional frugalist says, what could I do with $50,000 instead of giving it away for rent? Again, I'm giving you an example of how the professional frugalist thinks. It has nothing to do with, you know, being at a certain level, although clearly, you know, you can be somebody that is at a certain level with your retirement income or even your online income or whatever the case may be, where you can magnify your income to such a level and such an extent that you live very well and very comfortable, and you're the one that has, you know, that is living well. there's no level that you have to be at to be a professional frugalist. You can be at mid 5 figures or upper 5 figures or even 6 figures. You know, the professional frugalist at that level is going to say, that's $50,000 a year. Guess what a professional frugalist would do? He's going to figure out how to own property, and that's what I would do. I would own property. I would say, well, I can get property for $50,000, or I can get property for $25,000, and now I don't pay any rent, any income, and now I can modify it, put the tiles I want, and I can do all these wonderful things, and I've got a place that I can either just live in or rent out part of the time, or a place to go to, or what have you. But a professional frugalist never rushes into buying property like the RAM followers do. We don't recommend rushing in and buying property, because the professional frugalist, even in the States, we didn't buy property until we were in the town for a couple of 2-3 years, at least a couple of years, because you want to know for sure, because owning property is not generally liquid, and owning property means making a commitment. And making a commitment to a place based on what you read online or what people are saying on Gringo portals, or just visiting a place. You see a lot of people, oh, I went there, I went to Cuenca, you know, once a year for 4 years. Well, let me tell you something, that isn't going to tell you anything. It might tell you more than the person that only went once, but that isn't going to tell you, you know, really, although people will believe that they know enough to make a long-term commitment, the bottom line is that things didn't start cropping up, and we didn't learn all the things we learned until 2 or 3 years into being in Cuenca, Ecuador. And we've written about all of those things on our Discover Cuenca, Ecuador blog. And so for you to be completely informed and to do something with both eyes open, you really want to go over there and read all of the details. And then you can decide on your own, okay, well, I'm okay with, at least I know everything up front, and I'm okay with that, and I'm willing to make the commitment. You know, you've spent the year or two, and that's what a professional frugalist would do, is he would confirm 100% that he will make a longer term commitment. And that's what we did in the States. And when we bought our property in the States, we of course didn't, well, that's a subject of a different video. The kitchen is so smelling Italian right now. It's just...
I want you to get the tomatoes in the shot. Picture of a pizza.
Angelo's master work.
Master.
Wow, look at that. I wish I could eat that.
I made you chicken, hon. My master chicken.
Okay, what are you guys having? You can't smell this through the video, but it smells like an Italian kitchen in here. And that will always put a smile on your face. My face. Wow, you're making a second one?
Yeah, I'm making 2 pizzas.
Wow. So how much flour did you use on that?
I don't know, 2 or 3 cups.
How many cups in a kilo?
I don't know. I don't measure, I just put stuff together.
How much of that
Who needs to measure?
How much of that bag did you use?
Well, I used part of the other one that was almost always all the way empty, so I don't really know.
Okay, so 40 cents. Is there any whole wheat in it?
A little bit.
Okay, so maybe 50, 60 cents. How much of that sauce bottle did you use?
He
I
used
probably
to
used the whole
have.
bottle.
The whole thing? Okay,
No.
65 cents.
No, he didn't.
Okay, so that's $1. What about the cheese?
And look, that's all he used.
Plus the rest of the other one.
Oh, there was a quarter, so he used 3/4.
Okay, what about the cheese? The cheese looks like about...
Block about that big. Probably the most expensive thing on it.
Couple bucks. That's $3. And you got the olives. Say $4. That's $4 for 2 pizzas.
Plus labor.
$4 for
$25 an hour to make pizza.
$4 for 2 pizzas. Even if it was $5 for 2 pizzas. Those are large pizzas. Pretty good sized pizza. Yeah, they even have yeast specifically for pizza.
This only has a few ingredients, but it's really good. The sauce is excellent.
Yeah, the Americans have a term for this. It's called scarfing. Scarfing your face.
And you're not doing that? Go ahead, start eating, Frank.
I got it wrong. It wasn't scarfing. Angela corrected me.
You know, Italians have a word for this. Go ahead and eat.
Actually, in a different video, I'm going to talk about Italians and one of their really annoying quirks.
How they eat?
Where's he going with it? Oh my gosh. To be clear, this is not location-based inspiration. He was doing this in Unguilla.
He was doing this in the States, honey.
It's huge.
Ow, I think I burned myself.
Thanks for listening and have a wonderful day.